It's gone off at your end.
What has?
Oh, no, you bet you just because you weren't talking.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
You are about to witness history in the making.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to another Pop Culture Gamers podcast. Today I'm your host Steve, and as usual behind me is Haydn. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks, Steve.
It's been a little while, I must admit. It feels
Couple
like
of
it.
weeks.
Yeah, things get in the way of life, but anyway.
Yeah, these things like Father's Days and stuff like that, just plays havoc with our recording schedule, doesn't it?
Certainly does on a Sunday. Anyway, so how you been keeping, pal? Right?
Yeah, not too bad. In the last couple of weeks, my son's computer stopped working, which was my old one. Granted, it was one I bought back in 2014, but then it was sort of like top of the range 2014 computer, you know what I mean? So it was an old i7, because I don't think even i9s were even about quite when I bought this.
Yeah.
And anyway, it started acting really, really weird because it slowed down, but it didn't go off. And I thought, right, why would it slow down? And I thought, like, there was some sort of interference going on, something that was eating the resources, and thinking, he's put malware on or something or other like that was doing it. Anyway, he, did the normal thing of, Dad, my computer's not working. Help, all that sort of stuff. So I went and had a look, and I thought, right, let's restart it. Let's boot it up from the beginning. So restarted it. The BIOS screen flashed several times. The one that tells you what make the board is.
Oh, yeah.
And then booted up, and it was tremendously slow. I mean, I think I could have typed in the code for Windows quicker than this was loaded.
Oh, God.
And then it went off. Once it got into Windows, it was literally press the start button and then wait 30 seconds, and then it would appear very slowly. And then it went off. So I thought, right, that's weird. And I thought, it going off seems like a heat issue, but why would it be slowing down other than it's slowing down the clock to such a tremendous degree, which would, then reduce the heat. So tried it again after leaving it for a little bit, got a bit further, and then shut down. And I was sort of like, is it a PSU issue? Is it a AIO issue? Because it had an AIO on it, even though it was like it's a 2014 computer. AIOs weren't really very popular back then, if at all. And this was like a very early Coolmaster one. So much so it didn't even have a pump thing to plug in on the motherboard. That shows how old it is. So I try it again, and it goes off, shuts down. So my son at this point is, well, you've broke it. It's like, no, I haven't broke it. You already came to me, there was something the matter with it. It's just doing something it wasn't doing when you were using it. I said, well, get it fixed, don't worry. So I started phoning around, and of course, this always happens at like 5 o'clock on a Friday, doesn't it?
Of course it does.
It has to. So I ended up phoning DMW Computer Solutions in Northallerton. Spoke to Dave, who's there. I've never used him before, but they got a good write-up on, on Google things. I said, look, this is what it is. He said, I think it sounds like it's an overheating issue, which is what I thought it was as well. But anyway, he came out and had a look, and he came out on that day as well, which was really good. But it's
what did he charge you for that? Was that a call-out charge?
He didn't actually charge me anything for that.
Oh, okay.
And then after looking at it for, we were both trying to figure it out for about an hour. We thought, it seems like the pump's dead. And at one point, I'm not kidding you, the BIOS was reporting that the processor was 213 degrees. I think that might have been a misreading somehow, because that would have sort of melted the plastic of the motherboard, more or less.
Well, yeah, that heatsink wouldn't exist anymore, would it?
No, exactly. So anyway, I ordered another compatible AIO for it, and he came out on the Monday after it had arrived and helped me fit it, because I've never fit a AIO before, and I was just a little bit underconfident, because also I thought if it's fried the chip, he'll be able to see if it, I mean, I know that I'd probably instantly know anyway, but I thought he might have the equipment to test if the chip's gone. So I thought, I'll ask him to come out. So anyway, he ended up charging us 25 quid for both, the whole lot together and putting it in. I mean, we did put it in together, and he, anyway, put it on, had a bit of a figuring out about what way the fan had to go, because there was no indicator on what direction the bloody fan was pulling air, which is really, really helpful, like, thank you, Cool Master.
Isn't it obvious, though, to be honest, really?
No, because normally an arrow that points which direction the fan's working.
I'll be sure it's going to pull the heat out of the unit, not in. Anyway,
well, no, because if you reverse the fan, it'll pull it in.
Yeah, I know, but...
Get it the wrong way on. So there was no indicator when you had to fix the fan
on the side of the fan. Isn't there normally two arrows?
There wasn't one. There wasn't one. That's what I mean. So... anyway, we put it on and we put the fan on the wrong way, so we swapped it around. That it literally took like 20 seconds. It's not a biggie, but it was just a bit of a pain in the ass. Anyway, got it on. Realised that the way that the AIO had been on there had been configured wrong anyway all along, but it's worked for the last 7 years somehow. I don't know why, but it's not been working as efficiently.
That's just you then, isn't it?
No, I didn't build it. I got it from Cyberpower.
Oh, okay.
And it came pre.
The PC Master Race has been running a dodgy PC that's been on its last legs for the last 7 years.
Yeah, no, that wasn't me. I the only thing I ever did wrong in terms of things I did on that machine was the very silly mistake of forgetting about putting in the memory in the right channels.
Oh, okay.
Which, granted, took me about a year to realise until I'd actually done it wrong. But so anyway, he said, I'll just charge you 25 quid, because to be fair, most of the time we were just talking about stuff, and because it was like saying, "Oh, have you got this DVD? Oh yeah, I love that." We were talking about series and all sorts. It was more like a chat, half of it. So yeah, but we got it sorted, and now it's swinging sweet as anything. It hadn't fried the CPU, thank God for that. Not that would have been much of an issue. A replacement CPU would have been about 60-70 quid, but it's still 60-70 quid you don't want to replace if you don't have to. And I mean, I know that it's a 7-year-old PC, but actually, when you look at the average specs of PCs on Steam, it's actually a little bit above average at the moment still. So he's, that's on a 7-year-old machine. So who said that PC gaming's expensive?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So that was that. So I would, if anybody's in the Northallerton area, I'd recommend DNW Computers if you need to get some assistance. Other than that, we're putting the house back on the market. The people who moved into my house evidently wanted to move out because they've done up their new house that they were moving into, and they moved into mine temporarily. So that's now back on the market. So we're waiting to jump through all of those hoops of getting new tenants and stuff like that in. But technically speaking, the tenancy agreement that I've got with the existing people doesn't lapse until the end of August, but we've said that if we can get another tenant in, we'll release them early from it, if that's what we want to do. I think it's just been reasonable, really, isn't it?
Yeah, you don't want to be nasty landlords, do you?
No. If people have no need for the house, there's no point in them doing it. But equally, they did sign up for a 6-month agreement, and it cost us a lot of money to get the contract and all of that. It was expensive when you have everything managed through one of these services, but rather than doing it yourself. But I didn't want the hassle of it all. I wanted the security of it all being someone else seeing to it, and I just get the money.
Yeah, of course, absolutely, yeah.
So So that's about my week. What about you, Steve?
Not a lot. Busy working, did a bit of night work. Obviously, we've got the European Championships on at the moment, which will probably even interest you one iota. So I've got Sky on my phone at the moment just to keep an eye on the next game that kicks off shortly, as you do. But yes, the only real thing I had a bit of an issue with this week, or has been recently, my hub had a bit of a spaz attack. That's the right word to use.
So you what did?
My hub for my for the internet.
All right. Okay.
And I was working and suddenly I had to keep losing the Wi-Fi. I thought, what's going on here? What's wrong? And the missus said, I haven't got the Wi-Fi on my phone. I thought, okay, let me have a look. I rebooted it a few times as you do, 20th century reboot. Still no great thing going on. But the thing that was the deal, the thing that upset the missus the most was that she couldn't watch Netflix. And it came up with a code saying, I think it was NW-3-60 or something.
Okay.
And so I had Xbox Live running. I've got PlayStation running, the network on the PC. Because obviously I'm using I'm hardwired to a certain degree. My phone was okay as well, but really nuts. So I went into here, Netflix on here wouldn't work, Amazon wouldn't work. So none of my apps, my Plex server wouldn't run. So it was really weird. So temporarily I had to say, well, luckily enough, we got Netflix with Sky now because we paid via them, so it's a bit cheaper. So temporarily at the end of this week, she's been watching it on Sky. So anyway, so Saturday comes, I thought I better sort this out, and I went out in the morning, went to the scrapyard and took a load of scrap down there because I haven't been for a while. I've been storing it in the garage, so I got a bit of cash back for that, which was good. And then I was looking at this router, so I ended up basically saving my configuration file and resetting the router back to default. That's all I could do. I thought, what else can I try? So I did that. Once I've done that, I then separated at a 4G and a 5G network because I use a 5G network for my phone with gaming on the cloud. Fired up Netflix in this room and it wasn't there yet. Obviously I thought, okay, look, let me go back to the TV settings. I had to re-put in the passwords for the TV and it come back up, lo and behold, which is really weird. Unfortunately though, I needed to reset the password on my Netflix account as well, so I had to do that while I was at it. But yeah, it's all up and running again now. I just don't know why it had a spaz attack to unless Virgin were in the background tinkering. I don't know whether they did or not. I can't say. But I didn't. I thought I'm not going to phone them up. I'll just try and sort it out myself. But yeah, so she's happy now. Netflix is running. Plex server's running, so she's got my TV to watch. She watches.
Yeah.
Which she's watching right now.
Maybe we should say interruption in service to be more politically inclusive.
Both TVs would not run. I type in the passwords for everything, but network it wouldn't have it. And I did a test on the network with my phone with the hub, and it said there was network issues, but I couldn't see any. So resetting the hub back to default.
Well, networking is a bit like God, isn't it? It works in mysterious ways.
It does, yeah, it certainly does. But
I mean, get this right. I've got my home network is a TP-Link mesh system. Yeah. So I've got these sort of like cone things. So they look like something that would be an electronic candle, is the best way to describe it, but there's no light in it, which are put in strategic places in the house. And you can either hardwire backbone the network, or as an alternative, what you can do is a Wi-Fi network, but obviously you lose signal strength depending upon where you place it. Now, because the router here is in like the furthest outstretch part of the house as it possibly can. Okay, you got the other, it's got to go through walls, one of which is a double thickness wall because it's technically an external wall to get to the next one, and go upstairs and through the bath and all of that sort of thing, and a radiator to get to where the other one was. I thought, right, I'll run a wire through, which I've run a wire through. Now, what I did was plug the wire into the into a TP link still, switch. Okay. So it was like, a 5 Ethernet port switch, plugged it into there, plugged that into the Deco system, it's called, the TP Link Deco. And I was getting issues with network, not at my end, but anything that was connecting further down the line onto that mesh or the wet mesh that ran off it. And then I had a bit of an inspiration. I plugged, because there's 2 Ethernet ports in, I plugged one of them into the the deco directly, and then the one that came off that and then put into the network switch. No issues.
You just don't know what you didn't know what you're dealing with, do you?
No, and I can't understand that. And there shouldn't have been issues because it's all TP-Link anyway. But, you know, to me, as long as it was connected on the network, that means it was, you know, had that network backbone. But no, it has to be a direct line-to-line wire. Mad.
Well, you see, when this was all kicking off, I thought, I'm not going to muck about with it now because my Xbox is running. I've got up with the Xbox Live. There's no issues there, you know. If I start mucking around with it now and I start losing that, I will not be a happy bunny.
So what you mean is you were okay?
No, but she had Netflix on Sky, so that was the backup. So that was all right, really. But it was just weird. It was just something was going on. I didn't understand why.
Right.
So there's nothing you can tell, even in the settings or even in the logs I looked at. But it's all right now. So everything's back up and running and.
There is nothing more frustrating than when your stuff goes down and you can't figure out what it is. But it's, I think the one thing where people like you and I can do it and other people just don't do it is it's just about being systematic and checking one thing at a time until you find out what's wrong.
Yeah,
you know,
it was basically the TV. The TVs weren't connected to the network on the Wi-Fi. That's all it was. But why I haven't got Scooby-Doo?
My Skybox regularly disconnects from the network. It does my head in when it starts to do it, and it's normally when there's been a disruption in the service to it. But so far, touch wood, nothing else has really had that issue. It's just Sky.
Hey ho, it's all good.
Yeah.
Anything else we want to talk about?
No, I don't think so. We'll get into the rest later on.
Okay, so let's swiftly move on then to
Gaming this week.
Yeah, that might be a good idea, isn't it? Sorry.
No longer a dream, but a reality.
Okay, so you've got some news here. Do you want to elaborate what we got?
Yeah, well, I'm putting it under gaming this week, although technically if we were still doing the tech bit that we used to do in the early shows, it would probably come under that. And that is Windows 11 is coming.
Oh, how painful is that?
Well, I've had a look at it, you know, looking at like Linus Tech Tips did an early sort of preview. I watched the launch thing and I was sat there watching it and I was thinking there are several things on this that I actually really don't like. One of which is the fact that Microsoft have done it again, which they did on Windows 8, which is this is designed for tablets. Yay! When the most people who use Windows are on a PC or a laptop.
Yeah. Well, have they given a launch date for this yet?
It's coming fall, evidently, I believe. But it's got some interesting features. It's obviously going to be doing the auto HDR, which the Xbox already does for, you know, games and that.
Yeah.
Which is nice. Doesn't always work, but, you know, be interested to see how it works on older games. That's going to be a challenge. But more importantly, and weirdly, the new version of Windows is going to accept Android apps.
That's crazy. The thing is, I'm always a bit frightened of actually going to a new platform when it first comes out, because we've had past times where it's a ball ache in it and it don't run right. There's issues, and, you know, I'll stick to Windows 10 or whatever you're on until, you know, 6-7 months down the line, to be honest.
Yeah, well...
Do you really want to disrupt your PC with another Windows platform, unless you're going to split it and have it on a separate, you know, let's have a look at it.
Well, it's going to be, according to Microsoft, a free upgrade that'll be open to anybody, and there's no time limit on it for anybody who's got Windows 10.
Because the Joe Blogs in the street will buy a PC and say PC World or whatever, Currys and that. They'll all be running. They'll all suddenly switch to Windows 11, saying it's a new wonderful ththing to have.
Well, evidently it's the fall that is the retail release. I believe it's the end of July that is the upgrade from, or it's much closer anyway. So you're not going to be able to buy this retail straight off. But let's face it, everybody will just get Windows 10 and upgrade it on day one anyway, won't they?
Yeah.
And I've heard, I don't know if this is right, but there might be a bit of a speed boost with it being slightly more optimized operating system.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure how I feel about Android apps, because everything that I've seen on Android apps is adverts, and more adverts on it.
Well, unfortunately, that's with everything these days, though, isn't it? It's not just that.
Well, unless you're on iPhone, you don't get that sort of thing as much.
Well, no. I mean, if you're going to get a certain game, I don't know, game that's an app.
Oh, yeah. Free games I don't have a problem with, but it's where it's, like other things and they've got that advert going across the bottom of the screen. Are you really going to want like 25% of the real estate of your monitor being taken up by an Android advert?
Well, it depends, though, what you're going to be using it for, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And if it's, Android apps on the phone aren't an issue. It's, used to using them, but if it's something completely different or something that's going to interrupt what you're doing, maybe so, but it's just going to wait and see how it all comes together.
Yeah, I think by the look of it, they seem to be trying to rock something that looks a little bit more Mac-like in terms of everything sort of like in the middle of the way that the dock is on, the Mac platforms. And the start button's sort of like not slap bang in the middle, but in the left end of that middle group. I can't see what the problem is. Just have it in the bottom left-hand corner for a PC. I prefer it there. It feels tidy.
Well,
there.
I just get worried about it because we a lot of our stuff's Windows based in the electronic business of servers and everything else that we deal with, and let's just hope we stay away from it for a while because companies won't be jumping straight in with it.
No, they won't. We'll just have to see. I've not done much, looking at everything that it does. Just, watched a couple of videos and that sort of stuff. But I'm not in a rush to upgrade. I want to see how stable it is before we actually commit to that, I think.
Yeah, because you're going to get Steam and people are going to say that, yes, it will run sweet with it, but there could be, you just stay away.
Yeah.
It's not like, Windows 10 is going to still have support, isn't it?
Until 2025.
Yeah.
Is it 25? I can't remember, actually. I've got 2025 in my head, but I can't remember. Let me have a look. End is 2025.
I'm still running Windows 8 on this PC, so you know what I mean?
Yeah. There's nothing about with Windows 8. Windows 8 was fine once.
It's solid. It's run out its support for, certain stuff's over, but it's what I need it for, it's fine. If I ever get another PC, and then it would be Windows 10 or worst case Windows 11 later on. But
what was weird was a couple of months ago, they had the CEO of Microsoft on there saying there is not going to be another version of Windows at all. It's just going to be Windows 10. And then a couple of months later, it's, hey, here's Windows 11.
Yeah, called money. It's called corporate, and let's make another buck here or there.
It's just more of the same old rubbish.
Anyway,
more interestingly is the next announcement, or the rumour, which is supposed to be becoming part of EA Play event, which is that Dead Space is making a return. Yay!
Yeah, so to be revealed has the Play event happened yet?
No, it's not till July.
Because we've still got the, obviously E3 is now come and gone, and we'll have the Game Fest that's normally in Germany, I presume, coming next. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, I don't have much support for EA and how they go about doing stuff anyway, but if it's
well, it is a worry that it's still EA that'll be producing it, but they did a half-decent job on the last Star Wars Squadrons game. That wasn't a bad game. It wasn't fantastic, but I can't see Dead Space having the legs for multiplayer, in like a battle royale or anything like that. If you think they're going to do something like that,
that should only be a single-player story game, as long as it can be, and just go and enjoy it. That's all it wants to be.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be anything else at all.
No, that's it. Don't try and give it legs on something else it doesn't need.
Yeah, because all of the aliens that are creatures on it have lots of legs already.
So what's this about, an expansion for Ghost of Tsushima then?
Yeah, evidently there's going to be an expansion that is going to be similar to the Miles Morales Spider-Man expansion.
Yeah.
But obviously for Ghost of Tsushima. So coming to PS5 evidently. I don't own the game, so I'll have to rebuy it to play the expansion, I think. But that'll be good.
Yeah, it's a shame. Well, why don't they just give it for free if you've got it on the original PlayStation 4, you know? What's wrong with that?
Well, no idea. But money, I suppose, same as everything else.
And the ironic thing is also this last story you got, which has been a bit of a sour taste in people's mouths, isn't it?
Yes, Cyberpunk is going back on the PSN store with a warning that says that there may be performance issues on the PS4, but the PS4 Pro and PS5 will give best performance.
And
really?
It's a bit cheaper, apparently.
Yeah, well...
On the store. When normally it's about, I don't know, maybe £50 or something.
Yeah, but when did it come out? Was it November or something like that last year? So it's like a 6-month-old game. It should be cheaper now.
Yeah, but I don't know. I'm hoping that they will bring out a patch and bring out some expansion, and then if that 4K HDR kicks in, then I will replay the stories I need to play. I mean, I've played it once. You can't go. The ironic thing about this game is that when you get to a certain point of the game, say, right, do you want to go through these doors because you won't be able to go back again?
That's it. That's the end game then.
Yeah, and what happens is though, when you finish the game, you can't finish the game and carry on as if you finished it. You only have to go back before that.
No, you go back a bit.
Yeah, you can't go. You can't say I'm done.
So, but really, you have to complete the game before you can complete the game, because there's certain bits that don't open up to you, like the lighthouses, until after you go through that door.
Yeah, but it
resets you back so that you can complete everything that you still have left to do in the world after you've completed the main story. So it gives a bit of extra playability.
Yeah, but it should actually finish the game and say, right now, the world's your oyster. You know what I mean? That's how it should be.
But it does.
Well, no, not really, because you're back to the point of before the end game. It's really weird. You can't. It doesn't actually finish. I'm sure of it, and that's how when I play the game.
No, but I think you can, because I completed that game. I platinumed it, and I don't remember having it been. Now I think about it,
when you boot the game back up after you completed it, it'll only give you the game save before the last part that you go to in the building.
No, because
you didn't even do that, did you? I thought you completed it.
I platinumed it. Sorry. Oh, sorry, I thought we were on about Ghost of Tsushima.
No, Cyberpunk. That's why we're getting confused.
Right, okay, yeah. No, in terms of Cyberpunk, no, I didn't complete it because I was just not impressed with the game.
Well, it's a great story, and the ending I got was superb. But when it ends, it goes back. You go back to the save point before you go in the building to do the last mission. It doesn't.
I know you said it's a great story, but it didn't resonate with me in the slightest.
But I've got 2 more stories to play out, but I won't play them out until they've sorted out the HDR and 4K. And if there's some expansion to go with it.
Yeah, no, the game didn't resonate with me, so I just gave up.
But no, you're about Ghost of Tsushima. Which,
sorry, we were at cross purposes there.
All right.
No, anyway, there is a door, like, I think that's right. There is a door on Ghost of Tsushima where you have to, or a part where once you go past that, you're in the end game, and then, but you can go back to everything else after you've completed the game and complete everything that's missing on the map.
But with this, it gives you that last save point before the door.
Yeah.
Cyberpunk, which is odd. But anyway, should we jump on to new releases?
Yeah, do you want to do those?
We haven't got a lot of ways. So, 29th of the 6th, we had Sky, Children of the Light on the Switch. On the 30th of the 6th, we had Dookie Dookie Literature Club Plus on all platforms, and Mask Maker on the 2nd of the 7th for PSVR. Not great, is it?
Not really. On Epic, we've got for free this week Horizon Chase Turbo and Sonic Mania, and that's up until 4 p.m. on the 1st of July for UK time, and then after that, it's the Spectrum Retreat. So,
not a great deal.
No, not really.
We haven't had next month yet, have we, for the game for the Xbox and PlayStation yet?
No, not yet. A bit early.
Actually, it's not that early because middle of next week is end of the month, isn't it? So.
Yeah, but it's not. They normally do it in the last couple of days, don't they?
Okay, so what you've been playing, pal? Dare I ask?
I've been playing a couple of games. The first one is an Assassin's Creed game, but it's not Valhalla. I've been playing Origins.
Remind me which one that is now, because I've played an Assassin's Creed game.
That's the Egypt one.
Yes, the one I didn't complete. Thank you very much. Okay, yeah,
it's the Egypt one with the character who goes by the name of Bayek, so he sounds like he's from North Yorkshire.
Okay, yeah.
So, Assassin's Creed Origins. I completed this a few years ago on the PS4, and I started it on Xbox, but I never actually got very far on it because I got pulled onto other stuff. I actually got up to level 16. Anyway, I decided I just really fancied playing that one. I don't know why. So I thought, well, I haven't completed it on Xbox. I'll go and play it on that. So booted the game up and it wouldn't load. Or rather, it wouldn't load my save. So I thought, I'm not sure where I got to in the story anyway. I knew I was level 16, but I didn't know where I was story-wise. So I restarted the whole thing from scratch.
I suppose it's best to, isn't it, for that sort of game, to be honest?
Yeah. So it's taken me days to catch up to where I was because, it's Assassin's Creed. But I just really fancy playing it, and I'm so glad that I've gone back to this. This is a game. This is the one that takes a detour from the Assassins and the Templars sort of terms, and like the ancient ones and stuff like that. So it's the same, but it's different sort of thing. It's still the hidden blade, which you don't get until quite far into the game anyway. It's really great exploring ancient Egypt with some of the sort of like mythic monsters that are thrown in there as well. As with lots of other Assassin's Creed games, there's loads of RPG elements to the game as well. It's a bit more challenging than I remember. I think some of that is because the areas of the map bleed into each other quite closely in some places, and you'll be in a level 2 or 3 sort of area, and then suddenly you'll be facing level 36 bad guys, which is not a good sort of place to go because they're sort of instant kills. But I think also because of some of the stuff that they added in later on the expansions, there's a bit of bleed over into the wrong areas. But other than that, it's okay. The map isn't as massive as it felt in Assassin's Creed Odyssey, but it's still a vast sort of area. And there are other maps as well in terms of the DLC that's there. I like the idea that sometimes you just can't one-hit kill, assassinate a character as well, because if you're going up against somebody who's level 20 and you're level 17, for example, so that makes it good. There's a big tree, sort of skill tree on there with different specialisms on that as well. I really like the character of Bayek. He's a nice, you can understand his motives. He's after revenge for the death of his son, sort of thing, and as his wife is as well. But he seems like a kind of decent guy. Somewhere in between the first Assassin's Creed character and Ezio from Assassin's Creed 2. Do you know what I mean? He's sort of like a bit gruffer like the first one, but also likable, like Ezio or Anno was in Assassin's Creed Unity, because he was quite a nice likable character. One which now it's fixed, people really should go back to, because that is a fantastic game.
I thought I owned it, but I think I do. It doesn't show on my Xbox that I do for some reason. I don't know if it's I own the disc, maybe. I'll have to have a look.
But it was like £11 on the store or something.
Well, at the moment it's 80% off, so the deluxe edition is $12.59.
Yeah, I mean that's a lot of content. You're probably talking 80 hours plus to complete that.
Yeah.
Well worth buying.
There's a lot of content with it that's tagged on it, isn't there?
Yeah, there is. It really is worth buying it as a game. Like I said, Bayek, his character, his motivations, everything. And because it is so cheap on the store, it really is well worth looking at. And you get loads of extra bits of DLC on it as well. And don't forget, it's also got the Ubisoft thing that goes in the background, so that there's extra challenges and you get extra rewards for completing certain things, which the Ubisoft rewards or whatever it's called, I can't remember. But you can access that from the main screen.
I have to go back into my small collection of actual discs that I do have still and have a look. I'm sure I've got it.
Well, to be honest, you'd probably be just as well just buying that with all the bells and whistles and then trading in a disc if you've already got it.
Yeah, because I've got the gold edition for Odyssey.
Yeah.
Which I do need to go back to that one as well. But I think I own everything as much as you do. And you own it probably 3 times over. But I think I own everything that's Assassin's Creed. Looking at my
Yeah, I have Assassin's Creed every version 3 times over. Apart from the 2.5D platformer game or games like India and all of those.
I've got all those as well, yeah.
I've got all of those, but only on one platform because I wasn't a big fan of those. But yeah, definitely worth a look. My second game is something very out of my comfort zone, which is Solasta, Crown of the Magister.
Excuse the noise. He just goes past, whoever it is.
Yeah.
Oh,
so this is one of those games that's intent on bringing a gaming tabletop experience to your PC. It's currently available on Game Pass, and it's created by fans of pen and paper RPGs, basically. So in Solasta, you take control of 4 heroes from a selection of several of them. Each hero has their own sort of like unique skills that complement one another, and every one of those heroes expresses themselves in the adventure differently, making each action and dialogue choice sort of like dynamic to the story as you play it. In some ways, so in the same way as you would playing a pen and paper game, you can choose the character's race, class, personality, and roll in for the stats. Personally, I haven't played any sort of like Dungeons and Dragons sort of tabletop games, since secondary school when I was in Dungeons and Dragons Club. who would have thought I would have been in Dungeons and Dragons Club? Hey, because I am exactly the type. But I found it to be quite a steep learning curve in terms of the game. There's a tutorial that comes up and tells you exactly what to do. But while there wasn't loads being thrown at you, because there's awkward camera work to sort of use the camera, because you're using the keys, the W, A, S and D keys and the Q and E keys to go up, down, left or right on the map and to rotate it, and then it's sort of like point and click and your character runs to the point that you want. I was expecting it to be a bit more Diablo-esque, but it's not. It doesn't feel much like that at all. All of the attacks, when you attack an enemy, there is literally an on-screen roll of a dice, and you also take attacks in turns, a bit like you would on Final Fantasy. The original Final Fantasy VII and that sort of stuff. Graphically, it looks very nice with some quite detailed environments. My main issue with the game was the terrible camera work that was in there, because you can't zoom out or zoom in, which is one thing. You can't change the elevation, in terms of pitch of where your camera's looking. You literally have north, south, east and west and rotate left or right on there. And sometimes when they go into a close-up scene where obviously, it's sort of like a fixed camera angle, and they haven't fixed the camera angles right. So I was looking at one bit of dialogue where I seemed to be halfway through another character's clothes, which was a bit weird.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so you only saw half of what the person you were talking to because of this really weird angle. So I wasn't impressed with that. But that was really the main problem.
Yeah. Is this just Game Pass on the PC, not on the Xbox?
I think it is just on PC.
So I'm just looking on the Xbox, and I can't see it there. So
yeah,
PC only.
I think it probably is PC only. I don't think that the PC requirements are massively high on this game. I've just tried to I pressed the wrong button. I'm going to have the game load up in a second. Let me just quit that. Let me have a look and see what the PC specs are on this, because I don't think that they're very high. So even on your laptop, you'll probably be able to play it. So that's weird. I wonder where it doesn't actually show you what the technical requirements are for it. Must be blooming low. But anyway, you control a team of 4 characters, which you choose. You can decide what abilities that they have. All of that. You can cast magic. There's like stealth in the game, all of that sort of stuff. So there's lots of different skills for you to be able to play. I think that this is quite a niche game. If you're like your more average console sort of gamer, or you don't do tabletop gaming, I can't see this really floating your boat that much. But if you like the tabletop sort of games and you've got a PC, I think have a look at this, because I'm sure that this will be one that will tickle your taste buds, as it were, in terms of wanting to play it.
Yeah, I mean,
because it's not bad. It's just it's not my preferred sort of style of game.
I mean, no, the only ones I've played Talisman on the PC. Actually, I played on the laptop or the PC. Yeah, which is a tabletop game.
That
was just a Dungeons and Dragons style.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when you had Dungeons and Dragons on the Amiga.
And other than that, on the Xbox, you can play games like Monopoly, which is the tabletop game, I suppose, theoretically, isn't it? Which is very much an interactive. As they move around the board. Yeah,
I think that it's sort of like a different sort of subclass of tabletop game, knows Monopoly to D&D.
No, it's just being a board game. That's what I'm saying from that point of view. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I think that's the difference. It's a board game to a tabletop game, isn't it? Because it is that subtle difference. I know that many people will go, "What's the difference?" You play both on a tabletop, but there is a difference to them. But yeah, I mean, it's worth a go. If you're not sure whether or not you'll like it or not, I recorded the first 45 minutes of gameplay, so you can have a look and see if it is something that you'd be interested in. Just have a look on the Pop Culture Gamers YouTube channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe while you're there as well. But yeah, that's on there, so you can have a look. The last game that I've played was a bit of Marvel versus Capcom Infinite.
Which one's this?
This is the one where the Marvel and Capcom characters come together to fight evil, basically.
Was this a fighting game or?
Yeah, fighting game.
You play? I thought you just play those sort of games, do you? Normally?
Not normally, but occasionally I do. So I put on a few minutes of gameplay on the Pop Culture Gamers channel as well. So have a check out of that if anybody wants to see what it is. But it's presently on Game Pass, and it's leaving soon. So it's leaving at the end of the month. So if you've started this game and you want to mop up a few achievements, or just fancy having a bit of sort of like Capcom and Marvel one-on-one, with fighting, then there's a decent story there, and the excerpt that I've done's the story.
Yeah, you can also they give you, if you want to buy it, they do give it a reduced rate as well, so it's quite good.
Yeah, they do. Well, at the moment it's £26.39.
Is that with discount?
Yeah, that's with discount. But if you've already got Game Pass, you can get it for free until the 1st of July.
Not long left though.
No, but you could complete the campaign or whatever in that.
Okay. Yeah. Anything else you've been playing? Anything else?
No, that's it.
Well, I haven't been really playing any games, to be honest. It's really sad, isn't it? So since we last spoke, we did the E3 show, didn't we?
Yeah.
So I downloaded the Microsoft Flight Simulator.
Okay.
Really quick. I mean, really quick. I'm saying I blinked and it was done, basically. Now, I know they've done a compression job on the game with the PC, first of all. Hence the idea for the versions coming out on the Xbox Series X.
Mm-hmm.
Now, originally it took forever, didn't it, to download on the PC? It was like a slow train.
No, it was really quick. And then when I tried to launch it, I realised I then had 100 gig to download.
Oh, right, okay.
So I think you've probably fallen into the same trap as I have there, thinking, oh, it's downloaded already. Well, that was cool.
It says here, thank you for your interest. It's waiting to go. But
yeah, on a day, it'd be interesting to see if you've got 100 gigs worth of downloads to do.
I need to know how much I'm going to need to take off of a game or two to put it on.
Yeah. I was watching Obsidian Ant in the last week. He's been doing quite a few YouTubes about Microsoft Flight Simulator, and evidently there's been a graphic update on the game if you're on PC, but you've got to go to the store and download it from the store. It doesn't automatically update. But it does make a big difference in terms of the graphics. There's
another update. Apparently, they're going to allow you to fly from any airport. I've heard.
So they should.
Yeah, that means I can go. We've got two airports. We've got Bournemouth Airport here, and we've got Herne Airport, which is like probably something similar to in Live and Let Die when Roger Moore was with the plane on that with the old lady there doing the flying lessons. Something very similar to that. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how that all pans out. And on July the 27th, not too far to go. Just wishing the days away just to try it, see what it's like.
Yeah.
I'm hoping I won't be disappointed, but I don't think I will be because I know probably what to expect.
Yeah.
And it'll be a chore to get up. I'm sure to fly the planes at first. I'm not sure how that mechanics work, but it's the same like for a train sim or anything else that there is. That you've literally got to set it up completely to get the plane in the air.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'd be interesting. I think.
For me, and I know that the clue's in the title of Microsoft Flight Simulator.
Yeah.
But I would have much liked a more arcadey mode on it that was just, very arcade controls to, speed up the plane, get in the air and just have a fly around and just enjoy the surroundings without all of the simulator bit.
Yeah, some other parts they're adding to the game I heard as well. They're going to give you a autopilot.
Right.
Because there isn't one at the moment, I don't think. So you should be able to enjoy the outside more than worry about flying the plane.
Yeah. I still wanted to fly the plane, but just not to the level of detail where I'd have to be looking up lights in the cockpit and stuff like that in the manual.
You're sitting there through like...
Yeah. Where's the interior light on a blah, 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 blah.
That blinking light down there,
I know that floats some people's boats.
Yeah, because they had their missus dressed up outside the door with the in-flight food.
Yeah. I know it floats some people's boats by having these like ultra realistic sort of things, but it doesn't float everybody's boat. And I think that they're missing a trick if they don't do just like a pure arcade, fly up in the air, fly around, and then come down with a very, just something really basic. Like,
but to be honest, though, a lot of planes that come down, actually a lot of that is automated anyway. Best of the time, doesn't it?
Yeah, it is.
So
I just feel that
you've got to recreate Die Hard 2 or something like that.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I mean, it's a little way off yet, but there's other things. I don't think there's anything else to come out yet leading up to that.
No, probably not.
Off the back of E3. So obviously been playing a little bit of Destiny to wind the hours away. And myself and Mark Prude, we've been teaming up on Saturday nights and sailing Friday nights to go through extra quests to get different roles on some of the weapons there, such as the Dead Man Tales and the Hawkman quest. And we've been really lucky to pick up, get a third person in off the NFG and really get quick with some of the quests that we've been doing really well. And I've been really enjoying it. The season of the Splicer is still going to be running for quite a few weeks yet. So I'm hoping to get that sealed done. I think that's doable now from what I can look at what I've got left to do. And then what was the problem is that you're focused on something to do. Then Mark goes and tells me that there's an updated Gambit Gold Dredging seal. So we were looking at that last night. And you only have to redo about six or seven activities in the game.
Right.
And I've done about 3 of them, so I've now got 1 left to complete. I've been on it all day today. And I need 31. I'm on 31 out of 50 games to win.
Okay.
So far. So that will be done hopefully pretty easy as well to get that gold seal, updating it from the one I've got. So, but I've been really enjoying it and going back into some of the ways of outfitting your character, especially with the Warmind sales at the moment and stuff like that. And yeah, we've been really having a good time. We would like to, I don't know if we will do, but we'll put it out there that we would at some point love to have a go at the raid for those that want to do it. But you can get in contact with myself or Mark or via the Facebook group because we really think we could give that a go. We get the right people on board.
I'd really like to do any raid on Destiny because
you've never done
Destiny 2, never done one on 2. Particularly the first one, so that I can actually get the achievements for them. To be fair.
That's it. But we've been taking, even though we've been running the Nightfalls, been getting, because obviously each week that the drop changes for what weapon you're getting. But yeah, really got back into it a lot at the moment. So I'm really enjoying it. And obviously it's not talked about what's coming up next. I think that will be delayed because it's not been mentioned at E3.
Isn't there about 15 or 16 new weapons just come out as well?
On the 6th of July, they're bringing out some other weapons back out again to actually go and farm from the moon's point of view, I think, and from another planet as well. But yeah, just really gone back in the groove with this game. I mean, focus isn't the word I've been on this afternoon. So I needed to do 10 games where I win the game and I had the most motes, and I was so focused I blitzed it this afternoon and got all 10 of them done, because there are a few idiots out there in the game, as you know, that don't do what you want to do. But yeah, just really been hammering it now, and it's been nice to play the game. Played a bit of FIFA, obviously, with the European Championships up at the moment. I want to talk about that briefly because I forgot it had something else I needed to mention. Have you heard about the story, what's happened to FIFA?
No.
So, as I've told you before, and we've discussed this, that you can buy FIFA points, obviously, and also you can use your coins in the game to buy the same thing. So you can buy the car packs. They've got the promo car packs, the gold and the silver packs. So what they've done now is they've changed it so you can preview the pack before you buy.
Okay.
So you will hit the A button on, say, for example, the promo packs. It will go through the simulation of bringing up the card and the player of the top player within that car pack. You can back out and leave it there. It will sit there for a duration. Then it will refresh and you can go again. Now, I think this is going to be a trial run during the season that is kicking in at the minute. But if you carry on with this, I think it's a great idea to give you this, because we know that EA have had a lot of stick over the car packs over the years, and the idea of gambling and everything else. So yeah, I think it's a great move forward. If you've got coins to spend and you're not going to spend them if you haven't got the players there you want, you will spin that roll, see what they got, and back out and come back in. Probably a bit of a game changer, but then again, there's the flip side to this, where if you've got someone that doesn't buy, say, FIFA points, for example, and he actually goes and reveals the next car pack, and I'm not saying it is, but let's say one of the top players in the world is in that pack. Is that going to force him to think, you know what, I could spend some coins on this or some FIFA points? So there is that side of things as well. But going forward, I think it's a good idea what they're doing there. I think it keeps everybody happy to a certain degree, but we'll see if it carries on after the season finishes.
I think what makes people even more happier is not having to buy temporary DLC with real money.
Well, this game only lasts for a year, doesn't it?
It does, but it's also the milk the football fans dry with it.
It is. I mean, I think it's the only way EA work with a game, whether it's going to be American football or what we have. They're out every year. But I normally skip a year every now and then. But you could skip next year and it would be on Game Pass at a certain point as well.
I don't get why EA put so much money into development of the game on a yearly cycle, because it must surely be more cost effective to have the game last 2 years, where at the end of the first year you then buy the next season roster and have that game last for 2 years.
You see, if you think of the way Destiny works now, or even I suppose the Fortnite mechanic of actually having a season, it would be a thought of doing a football season as an update. And we've mentioned this, I think, in many shows back in the day, where it would be a great idea, but I don't know how well that would go down, whether it depends how much it's going to cost for the update for that season, or you stick with the old players. But yeah, because the transfers take place every year. Stadiums can be knocked down and rebuilt at a certain point in time, so they would need to be remodeled. Who knows? But yeah,
but it shouldn't cost as much as, starting the game again and building a new game with extra new features. And I think a lot of people will probably be quite grateful for the fact that, you could get, the 2021-22 roster of games for half the price that you would pay otherwise.
I think it depends, because obviously I played the FIFA Ultimate Team, and that's based around buying the cards. Now, it would be great to keep all the cards you've got and carry on playing the game, but obviously with players moving to different teams, those cards would either be made redundant and you trade them in, or you dismantle them, I suppose. Yeah. To try and purchase those at some point within their new team that they play for. So There's all sorts of ways they could go with this, but EA know it's a money spinner. They must make thousands, but millions out of it, surely, with all the different games they've got. So, but we'll see. I mean, that's a good point moving forward. Whether or not, as I say, it progresses on and they keep it, because I mean, it went absolutely nuts on YouTube. If you watch all the YouTube for FIFA, they're losing their mind over this. But I like the idea. It's good.
Might take some of the guesswork out of the alleged gambling of loot box sort of things.
Yeah, you know exactly what you're going to get in the pack. And if it's not what you want, you just
don't buy it.
Wait, don't buy it. Yeah. Anyway, anything else?
No, that's it.
Cool. All right, we'll move on to movies, TVs, and streaming.
In quest of a better life.
Okay, so we've got a few bits and pieces of news. What have you got for us this week?
Well, a couple of rumours, or one rumour in particular. Evidently, Dave Bautista wants to play a Klingon, evidently. And actually, I think he would be damned good as a Klingon.
Funny enough, I'm not going to talk about it this week, but I have just recently, or this weekend, watched Army of the Dead.
All right.
Which he was in. And even the missus recognised him.
Yeah.
But I thought, he's not naked like he is in Guardians of the Galaxy. But.
Yeah, he's they're getting to be more of a household name. I think he's going to be like the next Arnie, as it were,
or the next Rock, even maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, either the next Stallone or the next Arnie. He's going to be that sort of actor. So no rumours about him actually coming on to Discovery or anything like that, but. Evidently, he's made it known that he wants to be a Klingon. So I'm sure that at some point the Star Trek franchise will say, hey, he's quite famous, let's get him on, before he gets to be too costly to go into the role.
Yeah, because I can imagine that his lawyers or people that he works with will be there, putting the zeros on the end for it.
I'm sure there will be. So, other bit of news is that Fast and Furious 9's broken pandemic records at the box office this weekend by opening with an impressive 70 million takings. F9 got off to a promising start when it released internationally last month, and its first weekend broke the previous world record set by Godzilla vs. Hulk and pushed the entire Fast and Furious franchise past the 6 billion mark in its lifetime grosses. Although it did dip when it was released in China, Fast and the Furious 9 has proved to be a solid performer overall.
Yeah, it's a machine that keeps rolling, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's quite an unstoppable machine. People love the franchise at the moment. I have to say I much prefer The Rock on it with Statham. And their dynamic than Vin Diesel. I know that there'll be a lot of diehard fans that say, well, Vin Diesel was there right from the start, but we all have our preferences, don't we? So the last one is about Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. There's a new trailer that's appeared, and it's showing the Abomination. So the character of the Abomination was played by Tim Roth in The Incredible Hulk, which was technically the first sort of movie in a current franchise. So this may strengthen rumours that the Abomination is going to appear on the She-Hulk TV series.
Yeah. I think Marvel's gone to a suddenly stop now, isn't it, from that point of view? I mean, it's rocking and rolling, obviously, in the TV world, but...
Yeah, but have you seen how many films are coming out on Marvel over the next year?
I know, well, if they do come out in time, there's a load there, isn't there?
Yeah, there's like one every other month almost. They're making up for all of the lost time. Yeah. But it'd be nice to see Tim Roth's, Abomination come back.
Yeah, that seems such a long time ago now, doesn't it?
Well, it is. It's 13 years ago.
Yeah, that'd be interesting to see. I mean, it's nice to have a break from Marvel to a certain degree because it's not being rammed down your throat, if you know what I mean, because there's other films that come out.
What other films?
We've got the Bond movie. Well, we've got the Bond movie, for example.
Yeah, okay. We got the Bond movie, but to be fair, there's not a lot coming out still.
Well, for me there is, because I saw the trailer this past couple of days for a film that was delayed from last year because of COVID, which is now coming out on October the 15th, 2021. With the second of the 3 movies with the reimagination of the Halloween series.
All right, okay.
So after being pushed back for a year, it's finally got a date for the cinema for 15th of October. The latest trailer's come out, which probably, I think, gives you more of an inkling to the first 10 minutes of the movie, because I think it's going to be like the original first two. We're going to see a sort of you can splice them together sort of idea.
Right.
And Jamie Lee Curtis's character, Laurie Strode, is hell-bent on putting Michael Myers in an early grave as best she can. She's been trying all these years to do it. But yeah, the trailer looks absolutely wicked. I can't wait for that movie. Definitely for me. And I don't know if there's a few other sleeping hits in the background yet. I've not really looked at the movie database to see what releases are coming out over the next few months.
Well, I think it's still too early to be looking at that sort of stuff anyway, because things will change.
Well, it's rather worrying that, I don't even want to talk about the pandemic because we can give that a break. But yeah, who knows where it goes.
Well, the numbers seem to be growing up quite a bit now, don't they?
Yeah,
which is worrying.
But we've still got Blu-rays. We've still got Netflix. We've still got Disney Plus for those that use that. So there's still plenty of stuff to watch. Although a lot of the films now are not going on Sky and places like that and HBO. You're going to have to go and see them in the cinema as we stand. Whether that will change or not, I don't know.
Don't know.
So, speaking of cinema releases then, so this week we had Voyagers, Another Round, Freaky, French Exit, and Night of the King.
Yeah.
Nothing comes to mind there, doesn't it?
No, nothing's really standing out as woohoo. Blu-ray DVD releases, we've got Doctor Who, the Collection Series 24 limited edition packaging on Blu-ray. We've got Dragon Ball Z limited edition Steelbook on Blu-ray and Season 8 on Blu-ray as well. Hammer Volume 6 Night Shadows limited edition. Randall and Hopkirk Deceased Volume 1 on Blu-ray. The Boys Season 2 on Blu-ray and DVD, which is absolutely hilarious. And The Incredible Hulk, the complete collection on DVD.
Anything there take your fancy?
The Boys, The Incredible Hulk, and maybe the Hammer Volume 6. About yourself?
Going to have a look at what's in the background there as well.
Oh, there's also Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, but I think that's the what do you call him one, isn't it? I've forgotten his name.
Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp. Yeah, I think it's a Johnny Depp version, because isn't it Charlie and the Chocolate Factory is the original one, isn't it?
With Gene Wilder, yeah.
Yeah.
So nothing much there for me at the moment, but I tell you what I have ordered, and I'm trying to get who it's coming. I think is it Second Sight is doing this? This is coming out on the 12th of July. So there's a limited edition Blu-ray of film The Craze.
Okay, yeah.
Which is the one with the 2 boys from Spandau Ballet.
All right, okay. It's not the what do you call it? Who played Mad Max on the Fury Road? It's not that version.
I do enjoy that version of The Craze. I think it's a wicked movie, personally.
Yeah.
Some good performances in there. So that's coming in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, Tom Hardy, that was the name I was trying to think of then.
Yeah, that's not a bad version. It's not a bad version. I mean, it's like anything. There's so many different versions of these sort of movies you can watch.
Yeah.
And should look forward to that coming out. Other than that, there isn't a great deal at the minute. I've got a few things on the back burner, waiting for release from Arrow. I've got a few Argentos in 4K coming out. Yeah,
there was something that I ordered from Zavi, which I've forgotten what it is now. But it's being released in a month or two. Trying to remember what it was. Let's just have a quick look.
I'm trying to think what else. There's a few bits and pieces that are sort of held back.
Oh, it was June. Of course it was June. Yeah, that's not released until the 30th of August. But it's the Zavi exclusive deluxe 4K Ultra HD Steelbook.
Yes. Very weird in how those versions are running out. I'm not even sure what the difference is for some of them, to be honest. I'm not too fussed about the Steelbook, but I do have one version of coming, whatever it'll be. I don't know. I can't remember now. I did order the wrong one at first, and I spoke to Arrow and then cancelled it and reordered it. So
right.
I'm getting the Arrow's version of it, if you're with me. That's their edition.
Okay.
But, yeah. Okay, so cinema charts this week. From 3 down to 5, we got A Quiet Place. Still at 4, the Tom and Jerry movie. Up from 6 to 3, we got Wonder Woman 1984. Down from 1 to 2, we got Zack Snyder's Justice League. 3, and up from 2 to 1 we got Godzilla versus Kong.
Okay.
Class film.
What, Godzilla versus Kong?
Yeah, that's a good bit of monster fun there.
Yeah. By the way, that steelbook version I've got is also Arrow. I've got an order. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just a different. I don't know how they
packaging.
They work. Yeah, sort of.
Yeah. So on Blu-ray DVD charts at number 5, we've got X-Men 2. At number 4, Waterloo. At number 3, down from 1, Zack Snyder's Justice League. Number 2, Re-Entry's Basic Instinct. And at number 1 is Godzilla vs. Kong.
And yes, Basic Instinct. That is a Re-Entry. That is the Studio Canal 4K limited edition, which I've just purchased. Which is, and it's a lovely box set actually. You know how Studio Canal put theirs together? They did with the John Carpenter ones.
Yeah.
I haven't watched the print yet. I have watched some of the extras, but yeah, wicked actually the movie. I love it.
Well, sorry, go on.
No, I was just going to say, we all know the VHS got a bit paused at one point in the film.
Or snapped.
Yeah.
Well, I got a couple of 4K Blu-rays this week. I got Interstellar.
Oh, okay. I've been tempted by that.
Yeah, because I thought that is one of those movies that would look better in 4K. And the other one's Lucy.
Oh, yes, I know. Yeah.
Because Scarlett Johansson always looks better in 4K. Having said that, though, I would watch her on VHS.
Of course you would. It'd look better in VHS, wouldn't it? It would actually feel a bit dirty if it would come in a paper bag.
But, yeah, it was... Zavi had a sale on, so, 2 for 30.
Right.
So I thought, yeah, I haven't bought any movies in a while. I've been wanting Interstellar for ages. So I thought, might as well.
Go for it.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not sure whether or not they've still got that deal on. Yeah, they have. So there's some good movies in there as well, and some pretty rubbish movies as well, to be fair. But
actually, the latest Arrow release, which is a big, long, which I won't go into now. I mean, you can find the feed on Twitter, but Legend is coming out.
Right.
The Tom Cruise movie. And people were asking why it wasn't going to be in 4K, but that's down to the print and everything else, which is a real shame because it's very visual type sort of film.
Yeah. Have you got The Fifth Element?
I've got a copy of The Fifth Element.
In 4K?
No, I've just got the blue. I've got an old Blu-ray.
Right, well, they've got the 4K version on Zavi as part of the 2 for 30.
Yeah.
Apocalypse Now's on there. There's The Elephant Man. There is Watchmen, which is, I love that movie.
What, Watchmen?
Yeah, one of my favourite movies of all time.
Yeah.
Inception is on there. There's John Wick movies, if you like that. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. They Live. The Matrix, the first movie. Prince of Darkness. There's lots of good movies. There's a Star Trek, 2009 one. Flash Gordon. Let's face it, we all love a bit of Gordon's Alive.
Yeah, those John Carpenter ones. Have they got the more of the original ones I got now? Are they just basic?
No, the 4K. The 4K. I don't.
They're not the special edition, though, are they?
No, they're just the movie. They're just. They don't have the soundtrack and all of that because I've got. I only got the one with the soundtrack for the special edition version for Escape from New York.
The 3-disc one, yeah?
Yeah, because Escape from New York, again, one of my all-time favourite movies.
It's still going to be remade, apparently, but I don't want to talk about that now. Not so I'm going to cry into my milk.
That's sacrilege. That really is sacrilege. It's
yeah. I mean, I'm hearing rumours about the Thing being remade, but
well, they did a prequel, didn't they?
The prequel's all right. It actually gives something to the story. For those that have never seen it, if they watch that first, then when you've got the characters going into the ice station where the Norwegians are, and you see that's the remnants of the end of the movie sitting there, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
But yeah, no, it's all good. Okay, so if we go swiftly on to what we've been watching, what have you been watching?
I've been more or less exclusively for the last 2 weeks watching Parks and Recreation.
What the friggin' heck is that, by the way?
It is a fantastic little American comedy. So there's 7 seasons of this. The first season's only like 6 episodes or 10 episodes, something like that. And then they're all like 24 episode seasons after that. So it's about life in local government in America, particularly about a department, the Parks and Recreation Department, who is responsible for, parks, basically, within the small town of Pawnee.
You mean parks as in swings and roundabouts?
And also trees and park benches and, ponds and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So it starts off where the first season is very much an introduction of all of the characters, where it's, setting the ground up for all of the future seasons. But it's the first introduction of Chris Pratt, as in Star-Lord. It was what he was known for before he became, Star-Lord and was on Marvel. But there's lots of other names that you would know. Probably one of the more well-known ones is Adam Scott, who came in season 2 as Ben Wyatt. He was one of my favourite characters. He came in as an auditor. He was the guy who was on. You remember the Good Place?
Yes.
Do you remember the evil, or the devil that ended up being thrown out into space in that junction of all time bit?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's him basically.
Oh, okay.
So, like I said, Chris Pratt's on there. And there's lots of other characters on it. Amy Podlet plays the main character of Leslie Knope, who's like the local government assistant director of the Parks Department, who is trying to get this pit to be filled up and to be made into a park. And it starts off about her struggle to do that. It then moves into the town being in trouble. It moves into her then wanting to become a member of the sort of like the American version of the council, and be part of the leadership of the town. And then she, goes more nationally, to the state parks department after that. So, there's a lot about in there. One of the characters as well is a comedian named Nick Offerman. He plays Ron Swanson, who's the head of the local parks department. And I have to admit, I absolutely love him as a character, because he hates local government, but he works for local government.
So really, this TV show was probably up your street from the point of view from your work, in a way, was it? In
some ways, because I've seen characters quite similar in real life.
Did you sort of you think, I know that's Bob in the office or something like
yeah,
that?
Yeah, sometimes thought that's a bit like, X, Y, or Z. But I did like the character of Ron Swanson. He was just so dry. Nick Offerman really plays him down to a T. And then in later seasons, you get to find out his ex-wife or his ex-wives, all of which were called Tammy. And there's this. It's just the way after about 3 seasons when you see he suddenly starts looking like, a bit like the way that Captain America would look, kind of like trying to look heroic, but he sort of like looks the same, but starts sniffing. And then he suddenly says, "She's near," referring to his ex-wife because he can smell her. It's just stupid comedy, it's that sort of. It's on the sort of same spectrum as Brooklyn Nine-Nine in terms of comedy. So if you like that sort of comedy, you should like Parks and Recreation. What I would say is, give it a few episodes to watch to really like, or to really get into it. But definitely worth a go. It's one of those shows that I've missed totally. It's quite an old show now. I think going back to about 2012, something like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it's one that's been around quite a bit. I think most seasons were good. What was a bit weird was they closed at the end of season 6 as like a closure point, but then they had season 7, which obviously somebody said, an executive must have said, let's have another season of that one because people liked it, and then they sort of like had a whole season to close it down, so it was quite sentimental that last season. And it was a bit weird because they nicely finished the show and then they had another series afterwards. I've never seen that before.
So they actually buttoned up and put it all in a nice little bow and finished it, and then they redid another show after that.
Yeah, another season. So it was still okay. It was just a little bit sentimental and a bit, you kind of knew what was coming by that point. But yeah, definitely worth a look. And Ron, his wife, who he gets in the end, I was looking at her and I was thinking, I know her face. And then I realised it was Xena, the warrior princess. It was her.
Oh, bless her. How's she looking these days?
Well, yeah, okay, actually. Very good. But he ends up marrying her on the show at some point as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, really worth a watch. I definitely enjoyed that.
Oh, cool. Where did you see it? Was it on Netflix? Was that, I presume?
Yes, Netflix.
Right, okay.
So at the moment, we've just started watching a program on Apple TV, which is called Trying, and it's about a couple who are infertile but want a baby, sort of thing, and that all of the friends and that are having babies, blah blah blah.
Yeah,
one of those sort of shows. But it's a like a very sort of like dry sort of situation comedy kind of thing, and it's got the woman who was on Cuckoo, who was married to Cuckoo, but in season 2 of the show because they changed actresses halfway or at the end of the first season. So she's on that, but I'll pass more information about that next time.
Okay. Well, I finished Breeders finally.
Not Bleeders, as you've put there.
I know, Bleeders, yeah. Anyway, very so people that maybe not know. So we got this is a story of Paul and Ali. They've got 2 kids, and it's about them and the family and their mums and dads and stuff. Their trials and tribulations that they go through as a family, I suppose, can be pretty tough. Martin Freeman and Daisy Haggard play the roles. 2 seasons on Sky. Was it 2 or 3? I think it was 2 seasons. It might be 3 actually. I'm not too sure. It was 20 episodes anyway.
It's 2 seasons.
Yeah. Thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a bit abrupt for the end of the 2nd season, I thought. I was waiting for the next episode. I thought, well, now where's the next episode? Oh,
yeah.
That's
it. Left it hanging.
Hanging isn't the word. I mean, there was a couple of shocks in the second season. Didn't expect. And yeah, it'd be interesting to see how this all pans out for the family because they're in a bit of a mess right now. But
yeah, they are quite a dysfunctional family. But Martin Freeman's really, really good in it.
Yeah.
I think he's very believable.
If anyone doesn't like swearing, this isn't the show for you. Let's just put it that way.
No, definitely not. It's definitely not one to watch with the kids, or at least the kids who are not well into secondary school.
Yeah, but it's very. I can relate to a lot of it, to be honest. Some of that I've been through myself, and yeah, really good show. I thoroughly enjoyed it. So I'm assuming there will be a 3rd season.
It's basically a show about the trappings that you can get into as a couple when you've got kids.
Yeah,
it's very sort of humane, very realistic sort of scenarios in a lot of them, and I think that's
it's a day-to-day life of work, school, out, with your mum and dad, and what you get up to and what you have to put up with, and
that work-home life balance sort of thing that you've got to juggle when you're a 30 to 40 to 50-year-old something.
Yeah. Well, season 3 it's sort of hanging there on Internet Movie Database, so hopefully we will see another show.
Yeah.
Other than that, TV show-wise, there isn't a great deal at the moment. I think it's gone quiet. I've got a few other things to tidy up and still going on in the DC universe, so I'll be continuing to watch Flash. But other than that, at the minute, it's a little bit quiet.
Yeah, I'm starting to run out of things to think, I want to watch that on Netflix and stuff like that.
I must say this, actually. I know this is going completely off it, but before I talk about the film I saw, I've been seeing some tweets with the new Flash movie, and there's been images by, I think the director took him himself, of Michael Keaton playing Batman, obviously. In this film.
There's been a few of those going around.
Yeah, and when I retweeted one on there where you can see him in his car, and it looks so much like, in a way, his Batmobile that he had in 1989. I mean, I noticed also in that image that it's in London because I looked at the street name and it's EC3. So that was filmed in the UK. So that Flashpoint movie, I don't know about yourself if you're keen on it, but I'm looking forward to that. I think that could be wicked.
I've got an open mind about it. I just think at the moment DC make poor TV series and poor movies. I just don't think that they're doing well, and I think that Marvel have just got all of the oil reserves in that sort of respect, because they're, I've been watching a new Loki series. I don't know if you've started it yet.
No,
Probably
yet,
not. No. Which is why I'm not talking about it on here, because I would personally, I wish you were watching it, because I would love to have a bit of a geek out session about, I think this means this, that, and the other. But I just don't have the ability to do that. And there's just so much in like Loki that is going on. And it how bits of source material, like the comics, it links in. It's just great. And I've been getting a lot of my predictions sort of right about it, but I'm sort of like having to say it a bit hearsay because, well, not talking about it on the show.
No,
basically.
No. I know DC does get a bit of a rough ride. I mean, there has been a few movies out of it, I must admit, don't get me wrong. But it'd be nice to see the Flash movie. I mean, that's been a long time coming.
Yeah. But I mean, Man of Steel wasn't a patch on Superman, especially Superman 2. Wonder Woman 1 was good.
Aquaman was all right. It wasn't a bad film.
Yeah, but it wasn't going to set the world alight.
Oh no, either. But it was set up. It basically that was setting up for the Justice League at the time, anyway. So from that point of view, but but it's. And
I never thought I'd say it, but I prefer the normal Justice League. At least it doesn't go on for 4 hours.
I didn't really say that. Anyway, let's go. What I think, and I'm not going to go into that now. So
I'm not getting that fish on the hook today.
No, you're not. So I recently just seen Spiral, the Book of Saw. So if you're not aware, Chris Rock decided to reinvent Saw series. And he plays Detective Zeke Banks, who is on the trail of a copycat jigsaw killer, who, if you know the Saw movies, you know who he is. He was the guy with all the traps. His dad's played by Samuel L. Jackson, who has a few nice little pieces in the film. It is basically, it does what it says on the tin. We've got some nice, wicked new traps in the movie. There's a twist and a turn to the end of the film. And Chris Rock does pretty well, actually, as playing a non-comedic character. Very short film. I think this was probably about an hour and a half. So it goes really quick, to be honest. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. I mean, I do love the series that's been out over the last God knows how many years now. So, yeah, that floated my boat, that movie did, absolutely. Mrs. didn't, she weren't too bad with it either. But, yeah, it's nice to finally see that again, another movie that was put back from COVID from a year ago. So, yeah. Those films aren't your cup of tea. I mean, this one might actually. I mean, it might be worth a watch. Maybe not for the missus, because it gets a bit gruesome in places. She
would not watch it. She would walk out. She doesn't like horror, full stop.
Yeah, there's quite a few suspense moments in the film as well, with some of the characters getting into fits of peril, should we say, when you're trying to see if they're going to come out the other side of it. So, but yeah, really enjoyed it. Glad to see it. But as I say, moving forward, we are going to wait for a shed load of movies in the upcoming window. So what's I think just briefly, I think July the 9th is Black Widow, isn't it?
Yeah, July the 9th.
Now, isn't that going to premiere on Disney Plus as well?
Yeah, but it's Disney plus, evidently.
Oh, it is plus, and I'm going to take some more money from it.
Yes, it is, and I'm going to take 25 quid from you.
Ouch.
Yeah. So I will not be going Disney plus when I can go to the cinema and do Empire $3.99.
Yeah, I get that. I mean. Yeah. Disney are trying to milk big time here, aren't they?
They are. I mean, being fair to them, they've had this sat there unable to do. Well, they've been able to do plenty with it. They've just been unwilling to do stuff with it. But they've got to recoup their costs at the end of the day. We know that. But 25 quid for a rental,
and that's for Disney plus, including plus.
No, that's just for renting it on this Disney plus.
Thing. Oh, it's not like you pay a subscription and then stream it.
No, you pay.
Well, why pay £25 for a film when it won't cost you that in the cinema?
I know, it's ridiculous.
That's unreal. Yeah. I mean, you might as well wait for the Blu-ray, theoretically, at that price.
Yeah, because I was looking it up and the website said it was going to be £25. Can't remember which website it was. It wasn't Disney. So take it with a bit of a pinch of salt because it might have been misreported. But I can quite believe it if Disney charging that amount of money.
Yeah.
And you've got to think of as well from their point of view, if you rent it from them, there could be 6 people watching that. So, I know that Empire in Catterick Garrison does movies very, very cheap, but what's your average cost of a movie to go to the cinema last time you went?
Well, you're paying what, I suppose?
Just thinking of the ticket, not thinking about the hot dogs and stuff like that.
Yeah, 15, maybe 15 quid, maybe. I don't know. Maybe
for one person.
Yeah.
So if let's say that there was like 3 people, or 4 people, that would be like 60 quid they would be getting for watching that movie. So at that point, watching it at home for 25 quid is actually quite cheap if if you're going to have those same 4 people watch it.
It depends what you want out of the cinema and what sort of seat you want, isn't it? At the end of the day.
Yeah.
I like to be comfortable.
Yeah. Well, just for Showcase at Catterick Garrison, it's $3.99, and that there you can have a sofa.
Yeah. Well, just quickly, what were your thoughts on the new Suicide movie trailer?
Oh, which one?
Suicide Squad.
Haven't seen it yet.
Okay. Well, moving on then. I think you need to check that one out. Actually.
Yeah. No, I have. That hasn't even come up on my radar. So obviously YouTube analytics know that I'm not a big fan of DC at the moment because it's not bringing it up for me.
No, it looks pretty good, to be honest.
I never thought there was much wrong with Suicide Squad, to be fair. I quite enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I actually enjoyed it more than the Harley Quinn movie.
Well, this is interesting because the Suicide Squad is going to be in theatres and streaming exclusively to HBO Max in August, I think. So it'll be interesting to see where that goes. But yeah, it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. That sort of film, it's not going to be taken too seriously.
No, I don't think it. I think that's the sort of nature of the beast.
Yeah,
I think Justice League is taking itself too seriously with the Snyder Cut, way too seriously, especially with all that future stuff with the apocalyptic Earth. It's just too much.
Yeah. Also, there's another trailer I saw recently is a remake of a favourite film of mine that I've got. I think it's on Arrow on my box up there. It's Candyman.
All right, okay.
So there's a trailer for that just come out. So yeah, another take on a great movie. Be interesting to see how that comes about. So yes, there's a couple of trailers to keep an eye out for at the moment. With more to come, I'm sure. Anyway, should we move swiftly on then to listeners' questions?
Yeah.
John, what's happening to us?
Okay, so Mark, bless him, he's a busy man at the minute, but he's given us 2 questions. The first question we have here: do you assume that all big games that are announced well ahead of a release will be delayed?
No, that's it really. I don't really have much.
Moving on. I mean, some games do get delayed anyway in all shapes and forms due to for different many reasons. But due to the way things are made at the moment and people are working from home, maybe sometimes the game's release date will not work to how they want to due to the fact that people aren't all in the same office.
I think the thing is, and being a project manager, a trained project manager, there are factors that can derail your project. Obviously, COVID-19 has derailed many people's projects because it was an unprecedented, unknown risk 2 years ago. No one would, if you'd have gone back 2 years in time and said, by the time it comes to March, you'll be working from home, or people will be furloughed for up to a year or more and not going into work. Most people will be working from home if they're sort of like office-based sort of roles. You'll be wearing masks to go into into shops. They would have turned around to you and said, Steve, you've been watching too many movies, wouldn't they? So nowadays, it's, I think for the modern day releases now, it's understandable why there's slippage. But in terms of before then, some of it might be to do with more bad management. It might be because projects just haven't gone how was planned, or it was not a realistic project design to begin with. These things happen, but also projects very often get delivered on time as well. So it's just sort of like part of life. But if they turn around and say this is going to be released on this date, I'll take it that's the date until I'm told otherwise. But I never have a problem with them pushing back a date, because I would rather them push back a date and release a game that works rather than being a Bethesda beta tester.
I don't know what you're talking about there. I haven't got a Scooby-Doo what you're talking about at all.
You know exactly what I'm talking about.
No, I don't have a clue. But anyway. Okay.
Well, everybody else who's played a Bethesda game does.
Really? Oh, I don't think so. I know.
Fallout 76, which was Fallout 76% off until it was fixed.
Yeah.
But it's not only Bethesda, though. It's a lot of other, it's like now, CD Projekt Red. It's another perfect example. Why did they set a release date for that game when it was so clearly broken on the PlayStation and Xbox One?
Yeah.
That's just bad management.
Yeah. No, I mean, if you're not going to go into that again, but yeah, there are games that do get delayed. Maybe Exodus freaking packaging PC at the minute. Just the way it is, I think. Sort of games that get delayed are the real big games, don't they? I mean, the idea of something like Cyberpunk or Grand Theft Auto always get a shift.
But you look, most of these games are big open world games. And the reason why Bethesda gets the hits on this is because they produce predominantly open world games. They're more complex to create, all joking aside. That's just a fact. That's nothing bad against Bethesda. It's just open world games are more complex.
Yeah, single story player games, they can knock you out for chits, can't they?
Well, a very linear sort of thing. You're controlling the environment very well, whereas on an open world, you look at your Grand Theft Autos or any games like that as well. It's quite chaotic in terms of what people might do, and people actively look for ways to break games as well.
Oh, of course they do. Yeah.
Whereas you look at, for example, the Wolfenstein games, which are not open world, Bethesda don't get problems with them that much.
No.
So there you go, Steve. I've said something positive about Bethesda. And now Microsoft won't let them release bust stuff, hopefully.
No. Okay. I mean, I think some games get delayed, some won't. It's if they get delayed, they get delayed for a reason. I wouldn't bust their chops about it. I think it's a good thing. Yeah,
well, I mean, Elite Dangerous at the moment, Frontier have released that, and it's not in a launch-ready state.
No.
And that's an open universe sort of game, or open world, whatever you want to call it. And so it's suffering the same sort of problems that Fallout have, and other games like it as well.
Yeah.
It's just life.
Okay, do you want to?
Yeah, so Mark's next question is, what is your next most anticipated game?
I suppose this year, it's going to be Halo Infinite at the moment.
I'd have thought your next most one would have been one bit more imminently pressing, which would have been Forza Horizon 5.
That is another. Well, that's been a continuation going on more prominently at the moment, where Halo's been a long time coming.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to hopefully enjoying a bit of a beta time with the multiplayer as well, which I've signed up for. I did that, I think, about a week ago. There's a Halo Inside, as it's called, and I've signed up to hopefully have a play with that at some point. But Halo is, it's been a long time coming, this. But don't get me wrong, Forza Horizon 5 in Mexico looks awesome. But I'm looking forward to, even just for the story of this. Another game may be also Dying Light 2, which I think that's not too far away from. Other than that, I don't know. I'm not too keen. I'm not too bothered about Far Cry 6 at the minute. I'm a bit disappointed with that.
I'm looking forward to Far Cry 6 rather.
Yeah. Something else I wouldn't mind. I'm looking forward to, if it's going to play well, will be Aliens Fireteam Elite. That's scheduled for the 24th of the 8th.
Yeah, that might be good.
So that could be pretty cool. What else have we got?
I think Horizon Forbidden West, because I'm a big fan of obviously the Horizon game, Horizon Zero Dawn.
Other than that, there's a lot of games coming out. Well, I'm not even sure when they're coming out. actually. We've got a few. There's like an Evil Dead game coming out at some point. You heard about that?
Yeah, I know it's not one that you've got on your radar because you're not PlayStation orientated, but God of War Ragnarok.
Yeah.
And also Stalker 2.
Yeah, that looks interesting, doesn't it? I mean,
yeah,
I've not played the first one, obviously, that was PC.
And after everything I've said, Starfield. But that's not until next year. That's November next year.
That will be anticipated for next year.
Yeah.
What about it? I mean, we haven't got that Lego Star Wars game out yet, have we?
No, we haven't, and I'm looking forward to that one as well. I haven't played a Lego game in years.
No, see, the Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker Saga. So I can't remember how many. I assume it's all the films, is it?
It'll be the 9 main films.
Mm. I know Game are doing a Skywalker Saga Carbonite edition of the Steelbook, and you have a look at it. It's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah.
The Steelbook there, you've got Han Solo there impressed into the Steelbook.
Yeah, or as he was on the Lego shows, Ian, because his badge on the eye slipped round.
Did you hear actually? I know it's so going off it, but hear that Harrison Ford injured himself while doing Indiana Jones 5 just the other day. Yeah,
well, it's in Raiders of the Lost Ark 5, the search for the slipped disc.
He's had a lot of luck. He knocked himself out on the door on the Millennium Falcon, and he killed himself.
Yeah, and then he crashed his aeroplane.
Yeah, bless him. Someone trying to tell him something, you know what I mean?
Yeah, stop making sequels to movies that you were good at in the 80s.
Yeah, also that Star Wars, they're doing a limited edition on game. I'm assuming probably that's for the deluxe edition. Mm. Also with the Steelbook, it comes with a Luke Skywalker Blue Milk Lego minifigure as well. Mm. Okay, moving on.
Yeah.
So Albert Menifree, he's asking us, do you have any gaming apparel? I never use that word, it's an American word, isn't it?
Yeah.
With gaming becoming more mainstream and the largest age group of gamers on the rise, presently 35 plus, into the 50s as well, I might add.
Yeah, and beyond.
Do you find gaming t-shirts with these jackets more appropriate to wear out and about, or mostly wear those at home? I think it's more apparent that now you see it more out and about. I mean, the Microsoft store do loads of new t-shirts these days.
Yeah,
stuff on their store. Still waiting for the fridge, by the way. Keep an eye on that.
Oh God, yeah. Both me and my son, we've both decided we're having a fridge each.
So if you see it come on Amazon, you've got to let me know ASAP, because then I'll be going click click.
Well, I'll be trying to get 2 of them. So.
but yeah, I think these days gaming t-shirts and that it's quite a big bit of an industry now, isn't it?
And I think that gaming t-shirts are no different to movie t-shirts. I think
because they're even more. There's so many more now that you can go for. It's ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah, I did actually get a cool move because I buy my t-shirts from a website called QWERTY. Mm. You ever been there?
I have. I don't know where I bought mine from. I've got quite a few bits and pieces where you can buy like a bundle.
Oh no, this isn't a bundle. But for example, the one I've got on now is listeners won't be able to see, but this one about This Is the Way. It's from QWERTY. Mm. What I'll do is I'll put a link on the Facebook page and Twitter so people can get the link. But they do hundreds of different designs of t-shirts in there, and I quite often buy ones, and if you buy 10, you for every one that you buy individually you get a stamp, and then when you've got 10 you get the next order, or your 10th order, your next one's gets a free t-shirt, which is quite good. So I've got about 30 t-shirts from there so far. But they have gaming, and they have Star Wars and Star Trek and superheroes and all of that sort of stuff. But I've got, and I never used to wear t-shirts up until probably about a year before lockdown came in, and then I just suddenly started wearing them because I always used to wear shirts. But now I've got loads of designs, and some of them are video games. Other ones are movies and stuff like that. I've got like ones with Baby Yoda on, and a great one I've got is it's the Close Encounters of the Third Kind design. so like the mountain and the ship and all that, but it says 2020, no encounters of any kind.
Cool. Okay, do you want to move on?
Yeah. So Lee Doty's asking, what's your favourite DLC for a game over the years? Has to be the Horizon Zero Dawn, Frozen Wilds, or Bloodborne: The Old Hunters for him.
DLC, God. I suppose one of the ones I got the most. Well, the one that bit me on the backside would have been the Bioshock DLC.
Well, he's asking your favourite rather than
but that's such a long time ago. I think, well, still one of my favourites was all the DLC for Fallout 3.
Yeah.
That's probably one of the main games I've actually completed every gamer score on that game for Fallout 3. Such a lot to do in the game.
Yeah, I'm only on about 600 or 700 gamer score on Fallout.
Yeah. And also I think even with the later games as well, some of the DLC they do bring some big packs of DLC out from Bethesda. Whether you hate it or not, they do give you a lot of content to play with.
What about the Destiny DLC?
It's not DLC anymore though, is it?
No, but when it was Destiny 1, it was.
I suppose was it DLC?
It was the first year.
Yeah,
the first year it was DLC.
It's such a long time ago, and that's sort of 6 years ago now, isn't it, or something?
Yeah, but I'm thinking, the Moon one. What was it called? That gave you the raid against Crota.
I can't remember now. That's such a long time ago.
Yeah.
DLC. I do enjoy some of the DLC for Forza Horizon. That's been very good. And we had the Lego expansion in the one at the moment, which was fun. And that I think was a freebie as well for me for some reason. Because I bought the the whole thing.
I mean, I think on the last on Origins and on Odyssey, I loved the DLC on both of those because they really expanded the game quite a bit. So I think that they were really well worth it. It's difficult, isn't it? Because when does it become an expansion to a DLC?
Yeah, when it started as Horse Armor,
yeah.
And
more the Shimmering Isles though on Elder Scrolls Oblivion, that was a good DLC because that was classified as DLC rather than expansion.
Yeah.
And also
I think DLC is not really a thing now, though, is it? Really, I know.
Yeah.
What it abbreviates to, but I think these days they're more expansions now, aren't they?
Yeah, they are because otherwise it's either really small or really large, isn't it? I'm trying to think. There was one particular bit of DLC on what was it? Lair of the Shadow Broker, that was it, on Mass Effect 2, because that was quite a large piece of DLC. That was 11 years ago that was released, but that was a good piece of DLC to play as well.
Back in the day, then games like Fable, when they did that extra content, that was released as a disc for that, which was an add-on to from the end of the story. So it's come a long way. I think DLC is a term of phrase that we don't really use much these days. It still is. And then again, also it's just more updates to a game, which is free content sometimes as well.
Yeah.
Like for Microsoft Flight Simulator, and even some of the Forza games have had free content they've added to the game for you. There's all sorts out there, isn't there?
There is.
And we've been bitten once or twice back in the day.
More than once. Way more than once.
Do you feel, though, these days that you're a bit more cautious about DLC?
I feel generally I'm more cautious on gaming, full stop. I'm less cautious on the indie games that are just like a few quid. Because, like I've always said, sometimes you find a right little good gem. But for more expensive games, I'm a lot more selective now. And I think Game Pass has really taken things into a new direction for us entirely. With things like Humble Bundle, still okay, but nowhere near as good as they used to be as well on PC.
Yeah. There's DLC for phone, sort of games on phones still as well, isn't there? So
yeah. Thinking of DLC, I need to reinstall Final Fantasy VII Remake to get the Intergrade sort of like update and buy the DLC for that one, which has got new adventures and that additional character.
Oh yeah, for the PlayStation 5.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to try that one.
I actually booted up the PlayStation the other day, funnily enough.
Was that just to blow the dust out of the fans?
It was a bit, yeah. No, what it was, due to this thing with the hub and everything else, I thought I'd better boot it up, and that came up again, and I just downloaded a couple of bits and pieces that were, for the games and stuff, and then it turned off again.
Do you not go on monthly and just download the, or are you not subscribed?
I am subscribed. I've got a year's worth on there at the moment, but whether or not that will continue is another matter, to be honest.
Yeah, it was a shame you never got the year of Game Pass Ultimate that I got for £70.
Yeah, well, my Game Pass actually runs out. My Game Pass runs out in November. So, but what I'm trying to do now is each time my reward points kick up a little bit, I always buy another month if I can.
Yeah.
As a way to just carry that on. But yeah, if you see any other deals coming up for that in the meantime, give me a shout.
I will do.
I haven't seen anything at the moment. I
thought £70 though for Game Pass Ultimate for a year. Could not believe that. That was really good value.
Oh god, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Do you want to do the next question?
Okay, so Neil McBain says, when you start a game, what difficulty do you choose? Easy, medium, or hard?
Most of the time, default.
Which is medium?
It's whatever the game's set at.
Yeah.
So
I think I normally go for that, to be honest, because, I mean, when they say you go to easy, you're not familiar with the shooting type of mechanic, or you're familiar with this or familiar with that. But with FIFA, I do tinker with that when I'm playing FIFA Ultimate Team, because there's so many different levels to play that in. I might bounce around between world class or dumb it down to professional sometimes. But new games out of the box, yeah, I think more likely I go for default on that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm not really that bothered anymore in terms of what difficulty setting it is. If I'm trying to complete a game and get all of the milk every achievement I can out of it, and you have to play at a harder level, I'll go straight in at that level. But if I'm not that bothered about getting every achievement on that game, I'll just go through on the normal default level.
Yeah.
And then if it's a game that I'm more interested in the story than the gameplay, I don't mind dumbing it down to being on easy. Just so I can experience the story rather than the game. But it's not my preferred way of playing.
No. If a game does become a bit hard and you want to just enjoy it for the story, then you may well knock it down
Yeah.
But depending on your achievement hunting as you do, that might make a bit of difference.
Yeah, and some games it makes no difference at all.
No.
If you complete the game, that's it. You get the rewards for it, irrespective of the level. And sometimes the difference between easy and hard isn't all that great anyway.
No.
I think that the one thing that everybody does do, though, is you end up getting like a super powerful weapon in the game if you know it's a super powerful weapon, or, like limited use sort of thing, like, special bullets or whatever. And you save it and save it and save it. And then if you don't know that you're at the end of the game, you still don't load it because you think there might be something after this big bad guy. And so you end up finishing the game without using that, special item, as it were.
Yeah,
I think we
can all fall foul to that sometimes.
Yeah, definitely. I've done that loads of times. Normally in a Resident Evil game, I think.
Okay, do you want to go to Paul Wilson's question?
Yeah, so Paul said, as a Sony fanboy, I have to say Sony are letting the side down. Microsoft are knocking it out of the park, not just with Game Pass, but with frame rate boost titles, breathing new life into many older games by adding 60 FPS. Do you think Sony can catch up?
Do they actually care? This is the problem.
Well,
I mean, from your perspective, more Sony than I am. I just feel they're letting the side down. To be honest, I think they do cut their nose up to spite their face sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, because we've got a bit of the thing missing there, but it says, do you think Sony can catch up with the generous offerings of Microsoft this gen, or will they keep their head firmly in the sand? Should Sony merge PlayStation Now with PlayStation Plus?
You would have thought that would have been a thing anyway.
I definitely do, because PlayStation Now is tremendously good value for money. There's 600 odd games on there. All right, they're not the latest, but what that offers is great. And it plays really well. And a lot of the games now, there's just as many sort of like downloadable games on PlayStation Now as there is on all of Game Pass.
Yeah.
So you're not suffering from, frame rates or frames dropping because of it being online or lag or anything at all like that. So it's tremendously good value for money is PlayStation Now. I've actually got that. Not that I go into it that often, but, I play several games a year on there. Normally ones are download, actually, rather than streaming, although the streaming service seems to have improved.
Microsoft, Sony might do something later on in the day. You don't know. I mean, you'd like to think they would, but they've got their own agenda.
I think Sony still has dominance, but I think really where Sony falls down is that they've now got the Microsoft arrogance that Microsoft had at the end of the 360 genre, or era, rather, because they're not listening to people and they're not giving people what they want. People want the old games so that they're backwards compatible catalogue. They don't want all of this rubbish about, we've got on the PlayStation Store the PS3 version of, I don't know, Mass Effect or whatever, which you can buy that has been made to upgrade onto your PS4 or 5, which is what they do. It's like you can buy Final Fantasy from PlayStation 1 era on the PlayStation Store, but you can't just stick the disc in if you already own it and play the game. And that's what's wrong, because if you already own it, you shouldn't have to buy it again. That is the whole point. That's the whole point of backwards compatibility. And Sony are just not on that. And whether or not the executives at Sony like backwards compatibility or not is not the issue. The issue is the users want it. Xbox has shown that gamers want the backward compatibility. It doesn't matter if they don't do it often. It's the fact if they do it at all.
If it's there if you want it, and it's there for you to use if you want to use it.
Yeah.
It sounds arse about face, but
Yeah, and it wouldn't take them that much to do. So I think that Sony, they're just not listening anymore, and that's where their weakness is.
You might change in the future. I mean, who knows? Surely you would have thought they must be around a table sometimes always talking about Game Pass.
Yeah.
It must come up in conversation.
It must do. And there must be somebody who is, has a, some sort of sense of being sensible who listen to that and say, we need to do it. There must be somebody who must be pro it. But obviously too many people are still against it, or it's such a cash cow. But it wouldn't really cost them anything to link it in, just say we're getting rid of PS Plus. And we're just going to give you, PlayStation Now Plus, where you get PlayStation Now included in it.
Yeah, I think for a lot of people that don't buy that many PlayStation 5 PlayStation games, I think that would be it'd be something. You want to catch up on a few games that have come out. Yeah,
but I'm with you. I'm with you, Paul. I just think that Microsoft are knocking it out of the park. I mean, I was out on Friday night with a friend of mine, and he was saying, I'm thinking I might be getting my, one of his sons, a console for Christmas. He said, what do you recommend? I said, well, I recommend that you buy it now because you're going to be searching until Christmas to get one, is the first thing. I said, he said, well, what's the difference between Sony and Microsoft? And I said, well, having both, what I would say is, for me, I feel that the Xbox Series X, my brain's going today, it's hot in here. The Xbox Series X feels like a graphics update to the Xbox One X because it's got the same operating system, it's the same controller, it is faster and it's got quick resume, and the graphics are a little bit more sparkly, but it doesn't feel like next gen because of that. I said the Sony PlayStation 5 is a really funky looking console. It is Marmite, as in either, one of you either love it or hate it. I said it's not the most powerful console out of the two, but it's got the DualSense controller, which is really good. It plays well. It feels good. You get, you do get that haptic feedback and all of that. You've got the microphone in there. You've got the little speaker in the thing and the trackpad. There's a lot of innovation in it. You're going to be able to get PSVR 2 when it comes out. All of that sort of thing, which is all really great. But the games on that console now, on average price, is £70 when they're brand new. which is tremendously expensive, and he was not a big fan of that idea of 70 quid.
No.
I said, but you look at the and I said also, they've got an SSD and the ability to add another one in the future when they decide to allow us to do it, which, what is the delay on that, seriously? And then I said, but going back to Xbox Series X, that offers so much more because his son's already a PC gamer. I said, so you can get for £100 for a year or thereabouts, you can get access to Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, which would give him games on his PC and games on his console. You don't have to buy any more games after that, because there's so many games in there, they're getting refreshed all of the time. All of the big AAA Microsoft ones are there. So it's very little games that you've got to pay after you pay out that Game Passing. And then that can be like part of the Christmas present every year is here's your next subscription to Game Pass. And he was like, that's appealed to him so much more. And I think that it appeals to many more parents.
Of course it will.
Nowadays as well. Don't get me wrong, I would not be without my PlayStation. I love the PlayStation. I love the exclusive games that are on there, like Spider-Man, like Final Fantasy, all of that sort of stuff. But a lot of them, like Final Fantasy is rumoured to be coming over to PC anyway. So a lot of the exclusivity that used to be on PlayStation alone is moving because, Days Gone, Death Stranding, Detroit Become Human, Senua's Sacrifice, that exclusive game that was only available on PlayStation, it is now owned by Xbox. What do you call it?
The list is endless, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of No Man's Sky.
Yeah.
After Hello Studios were thrown under the bus by Sony and they released it on every other platform. So, and No Man's Sky was available on PC anyway, if I remember rightly. I think, or it was a little bit later. So I think Sony really need to be booking their ideas up because by the end of this generation, I think that they might be coming out on a really bad losing position.
We'll see.
But then again, you can get hold of Xbox Series X a heck of a lot easier than you can with Sony PlayStation 5s, so it seems.
Yeah, I'm not too sure now, but it's always still a bit of a... Some people are picking bits and pieces up, aren't they?
Yeah, but it always seems people seem to be chasing a 5, and I'm not sure if that's because Microsoft has a better availability of the stock, or is producing more stock, or it's because the demand for Microsoft is so much lower and the demand for PlayStation is so much higher because we're not seeing those sort of figures.
I don't think we can really say on that. I mean, that's just we can just assume. But if they're knocking it out and getting more out, then all well and good. Sony should be doing the same.
But if you want a next-gen experience, I still think that the PlayStation 5 is the one to go for that next-gen feel.
Yeah, so you say.
Yeah, from experience, I'm saying that. And your scepticism is coming from not lack of experience on that one.
Yeah, right, we need to
wrap up
because I'm really hungry.
Okay, so we've got Scott.
So ironically, his last read his question out.
His last one is, what's your favourite... Scott Kidd's asking, what's your favourite snack and why?
Well, I won't link it to, say, gaming, because sometimes snack and gaming just doesn't go because you get a mess with your hand controllers, which I don't like to do. I like spicy snacks. Okay. I'm a spicy person. And it's funny, Mark mentioned the other day when we were playing Destiny, I do love Bombay mix. Maybe not your cup of tea?
No, not my cup of tea.
Or you just a crisp man and have done with it, or a...
Well, no, I do remember your obsession with crisps. all I could hear was down my headphones.
Well, it's funny because I was eating some. Mark was to just be away from it, and that's why I was dipping into some Pringles.
Yeah.
While I had my headphones on there, I could even hear myself eat. It was like I sound like a horse.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah, sometimes we weren't. Me and Chris never used to be sure whether or not you had a trough on your mouth.
I'm glad you've had a mute mic these days, even more so, just while you're jumping like. But just finishing off then. So what floats your boat there?
I don't really have a fixed sort of snack. I seem to be going through a phase of penguins at the moment.
Penguin.
Yes. So remember the little ice gems?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you like jelly beans?
No.
No?
No, I don't like jellied sort of fruit. I'm sort of like pretty much a chocolate sort of only.
So the fruit pastel wine gum style things don't really flavour.
All-star mixes or stuff
they're
like
not.
that.
I wouldn't call them a snack because they're sweet. Snack to me means savoury.
No, I think snacks could include biscuits and stuff like that, which is why I would say penguins.
Yeah.
But if you're going for like snack that's savoury at the moment, I'm going through a thing of having mini cheddars with hummus.
Yeah. What about? Actually, I had to pop out this afternoon and pick some bits up, and I trusted this little list in my hand as you do from your loved one. And I was looking at Ritz biscuits. I sometimes have a thing for those sometimes. I don't know why.
Rich tea, yeah.
No, Ritz biscuits.
Oh, Ritz, sorry.
Yeah, right. Ones you can use for cheese, or I eat them on their own. I can.
Yeah. Well, I like those, but I like the mini cheddars because they're just that little bit more cheesy.
Mm.
But mini cheddars with sort of like chili hummus.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, and as for why, it's because I like it.
Yeah. Well, no, I just love Bombay mix. It goes down well with a lager as well every now and then. A bit messy in the hands, but
Yeah, definitely. Not one to play while you're playing a game.
No, God knows, no, absolutely.
No.
Unless you've got to have some sort of feeding vessel, like for a horse, like the sort of a horse bag over your hand that you dip in there. But yeah, that wouldn't look right, would it?
No, not quite.
Okay, so I think that's it, really. I think I need to move on and get my dinner.
Yeah.
So my outro. So gamertag @Steve007. So Twitter @Steve007. The gamertag is the same without the @. PSN ID is the real Steve007. Instagram Steve0764. YouTube channel with the same name as the gamertag as well. Haydn, one word, one title.
Yeah, HERJUK on Twitter, PSN, Xbox Live, Steam, all of that, apart from Epic, which is Pop Culture Gamers. Don't forget also there is our Twitter feed, Pop Culture Gamer. You can find our Facebook group and our Facebook page on Facebook. Just look for Pop Culture Gamers there. If you want to email the show, you can do so on podcast@popculturegamers.co.uk and our website, anchor.fm/popculturegamers. And don't forget to like and, more importantly, subscribe to YouTube. Just do a search for Pop Culture Gamers. You'll find us on there. We only need 2 more people to subscribe, and then I can name the blooming channel finally. So come on, we need 2 people.
So we're up to 98.
Yeah. I know it's pathetically low. If everybody who listened to this show would just subscribe, we'd be perfectly fine.
Well, maybe we have some luck this week.
Yeah, come on, we need 2 of you too. We haven't done it already to do so.
Actually, put it on the Facebook group. Yeah, I think you need to make a note of it on there, actually.
Yeah, and on Twitter.
Okay, so hopefully we'll be back next week without any hiccups.
And hopefully Steve will have had his tea by then as well.
Yeah, maybe so, because my tummy's grumbling like you wouldn't believe. So, basically, it's a good night from me.
And a good night from him.
Good night.
Good night.